everybody. Shay Cornett with you here. Mad Dog is here.
Yes.
Good morning. Michael Wilbon is here. Good morning. And Stephen A. Smith, how you feeling after last night's butt kicking in the fourth quarter and beyond?
I love everybody. Wilbon, it's great to see you. Doggy, I even love the blazer. Everybody is great. The skies are beautiful. It's sunshine. It's orange and blue skies, baby. Oh, this is a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning in the neighborhood, everybody. I just wanted to say that. I love everybody. To everybody. I hope everybody's great. I'm feeling wonderful.
Good. Let's capitalize on the good mood, okay? We're
For a change.
We're going to keep the vibes high here on First Take. Let's go to last night at the Garden. What a night. The Knicks did the improbable, of course, down by 22 with 7:40 left in the game, and then Jalen Brunson basically went to work, scoring 17 of his 38 points in the fourth and overtime to lead the Knicks to a Game 1 comeback win in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Cavaliers left in absolute disbelief. The Knicks became the first team over the last 30 postseasons to win when down 20 or more points with 7 minutes remaining in the fourth. James Harden shot just 1 for 7 in the fourth and in OT. So here's Cavs coach Kenny Atkinson being asked if he considered benching Harden, who Jalen Brunson basically targeted down the stretch.
No, listen, he's been one of our best defenders in these playoffs. I trust him. You know, smart, great hands. Didn't think about that.
Sometimes you got to do what the game dictates, and they were trying to do the same thing with Jalen, and so we said, okay, you know, we feel like we can play that game. We try not to play that game much, but we feel like we have a guy that we can play that game with, and Jalen. And so, you know, just like we have to try to figure out different ways to guard Harden and Mitchell, they got to figure out different ways to guard Jalen. But there's no secret we were attacking Harden.
No secret. We all saw it with our own two eyes. Okay, so now the question is, who is more responsible for last night's result? Is it Jalen Brunson and the way he was taking over? Or is it James Harden? Stephen, I keep dancing with that good mood. What would you say, James Harden or Brunson?
Listen, the bottom line is this. It was definitely targeting. I mean, they brought new rules. I mean, if this was the NFL, they would have got fined and suspended, for crying out loud. I mean, you can make a legitimate argument, Wilbon and Doggy, that Jalen Brunson should be arrested for the assault that he put on James Harden. It was really, really bad. I mean, he destroyed him. You talk about somebody stepping on a basketball court and busting your living ass. That's what happened to James Harden. No disrespect to the brother. I mean, even though there were plays where, you know what, he seemed to lollygag just a little bit, that was after demoralization kicked in because Jalen Brunson was just giving it to him, dancing on him, pulling up on him, in his face. James Harden was right there contesting it. It didn't matter. The man was helpless. It was one of the rare moments in the history of James Harden's career where you absolutely felt sorry for him. It was really, I mean, he was getting his ass kicked. It was like that, okay? And then from that point forward, Landry Shamet comes on and he hits a couple of threes. You know, one time James Harden was in the vicinity and contested. Another time he didn't even try to put his hands up. But again, that was after demoralization kicked in. It was an 18-1 run. And then from there, it was a 30-8 run. That amounts to 48-9 for crying out loud. This is what the New York Knicks did, and it was instigated by the little dynamo that is the 6'1" Jalen Brunson that refused to go out in Game 1 like that. Gave it to James Harden. We could point the finger at James Harden. I think the egregious part of the evening was with Coach Kenny Atkinson for a bevy of errors he made, not utilizing timeouts, sitting up there with that ridiculous, utterly ridiculous soundbite talking about he trusted James Harden. Damn, watch the game, see the flow of the game, recognize your boy is getting completely abused, call a timeout, change schemes defensively, do something to show him, to help him out. Not only was he abused and assaulted by Jalen Brunson, but he was also neglected by his coach, who showed no sympathy whatsoever and left him on an island to handle his own business, which he was clearly incapable of handling. I don't know if James Harden's going to recover from this. I ain't going to lie to you. Because when you get your ass kicked like that, the only way to come back from that is to make sure that you're prolific offensively, and we haven't seen that from James Harden for the most part in these playoffs. The credit to this, however, more responsible for the Game 1 result was Brunson, not Harden.
It's Kenny Atkinson. Period.
It's the most
Jalen Brunson's great. We've seen Jalen Brunson do this before. He's going to do it again. You can't do it if you call a time. You have to slow. There's 4 reasons you have to slow momentum. You don't go 18-1 with 4 timeouts initially, and you're going to lose 2 of them in 3 minutes. You're going to lose them. He didn't call either one of those. 18-1 run. The Knicks players were sort of slow getting back at first because they thought he's going to call timeout now. He didn't, and they're like, okay, well we'll roll with this. Oh, he's going to call timeout after 2 more baskets. No, he never did. You just played a game 7. Your guys are tired. You need to help them. Coaches talk all the time about putting their players in the best position possible. He didn't do any of that. Not only that, you got James Harden. You've got to get him away from Jalen Brunson. Didn't do that. You got either a tired or an injured, limping Donovan Mitchell, who's on the right side of the court, not touching the basketball. Donovan Mitchell, your best player, doesn't touch the ball. Call timeout. Draw up something. You've got other players out there who can hit a shot, Strus being one of them. At one point, Strus and Wade are both on the bench. So so now you're left with nobody to really even confront Jalen Brunson, who's on a heater, granted. And you've got all these other issues. It's Kenny Atkinson. Jay Will said this morning on Get Up, it's like coaching malpractice. And I'm attributing him because that's the phrase. It was so bad to not use the timeouts, to not design. You're going to let the Knicks dictate all the action and just say, we're going to confront James Harden. And Kenny Atkinson, look, he had to say that before the cameras. No coach has ever trusted James Harden defensively like that because there's no reason to do it. Every player in the league knows that's been his liability. Not as bad as, say, Luka Doncic, but bad. Over his whole career defensively, you don't trust him, and you don't leave him out there in Madison Square Garden to be confronted by the most clutch player in the league. He's been voted that. He's been that. What are you doing? It's Kenny Atkinson.
100%. Atkinson had and I love Kenny Atkinson, but he had an horrific game. The timeouts, Strus and Merrill were out of that game a lot in the last 7 minutes. They had a 6-point lead with the ball, 1:38 to go, and Mobley takes a shot after 10 seconds on a shot clock. You can't do that. Use the clock. You got to take 10, 12 seconds more off that clock. They never set up a play. Now, I blame a little bit on Donovan Mitchell. Don, you want to be a superstar, get the ball and make a basket. He didn't do that in the last 7 days. You can't blame that all on a coach. The players got to take some responsibility there. But here's what I would say, and this is why I had no problem with Mosley getting fired. He blew a 24-point lead in Game 6. He did nothing in the game to change the momentum of the game. I watched it. I saw it. 0. And Kenny, who's not going to get fired, but Kenny in this situation had 7 minutes and 45 seconds to do something. Change the flow of the game. Yes. As Mike said, Stevie said, timeout, set a play, backdoor layup, get an open jump shot, double team Brunson to get the ball out of his hands.
The bleeding.
Put Strus in there to guard him. Strus has got a little competitiveness. He's got some size. Yeah. He did, and I'll tell you right now, I don't care. This series was a tough series to get into anyway because the Knicks were not going to lose. For a while there, if you wanted to see some juice, you thought you had it. Cleveland is finished in this series. They're not beating the Knicks 5 times. Okay? They were not going to beat them 4 times. Now they're not going to beat them 5 times. If this series ever got back to New York for a Game 6, I would be absolutely shocked. Teams do not recover on this level of sports. Go to baseball, I'll give you a million examples. You don't recover from these kind of losses